Actually, just on a small tangent, since you are also a car guy, what's the greatest combustion engine car ever made to you?
Oh,
If you had to pick something, what's the coolest, the sexiest, the most powerful, the classiest, the most elegant, well designed? I don't know what
a lot of those
category
things are different for me, but I'd
they
say
are.
it's funny because now maybe it's just because it's fresh on mind, but I love that mid 90s RX-7, which, especially in Japan, they had the 20B, a tri-rotor. That is like the coolest engine ever to me.
Let me maybe.
The FD RX-7. It's just too darn cool, honestly. It'd be, there you go.
Well, what about the mid '90s that makes it special?
Just that's the only time
Everything was
it's more that I love the engine and I like the car it's attached to. I mean, I'm not actually a big fan of like 90s styling, personally, but just that the 20B is just such a cool engine, and it's twin turbo sequential turbos. So they used a bigger turbo takes longer to spool up. It takes more. It's using that same like a turbine and a compressor, and if it's a large turbine, it takes more exhaust gas to get it spooled up. So if you have an engine that revs to 9,000 RPM and you want to get a lot of pressure out of that turbo, you have a big turbo. It's going to take forever. Like you're going to have, your floor, and then like it's going to take a long time for that turbo to get spooled up. So they actually did a small turbo on it and a big turbo. So the small turbo would spool up first, get some boost going through the engine, get that engine operating, get it up to speed, get some power to the wheels. And then once that kind of reaches its limit, you'd flow it into divert the exhaust gas into the bigger turbo. It's this sequential turbo. And then that now can supplement and actually increase the, overall performance of the vehicle by a lot. And I think that's just so cool. It's just like the ultimate, like brute force out of the box thinking, and it actually made it into production. You know what I mean?
Can you what's the sound like? Can you tell an engine by its sound?
It sounds like a really, really, really angry lawnmower. It sounds horrible. It's actually a terrible sounding car. In my opinion, like it sounds just raspy and like the opposite of like a big muscle car.
Yeah.
Like a big muscle car is this deep guttural, like
deep.
Oh, it hits you. This is like it's just gonna annoy the hell out of you and all your neighbors. Like
but you love the engineering.
I love the engineering of it.
So to you, the car is the engine. It's not all the surface stuff, all the design stuff, all the the elegance, the curves, whatever it is.
Well, those come and go. To me, styles change
forever.
Yeah,
I'm gonna apply that to my dating life once again. The metaphors just keep on coming.
Well, if you think about it, like my taste has changed throughout the years. When I first saw a Model 3 Tesla, I thought it was the most hideous car I've ever. Without the grill, I was like, "This is so stupid." It took me all but 2 months to think that it was one of the coolest looking cars. Same with Cybertruck. I mourned Cybertruck when I first saw that thing. I was at that thing and I went with. We used to do a podcast called Our Ludicrous Future, so we talked a lot about like cars and EVs and stuff. We went to that unveiling and literally like we had like almost a non-alcohol induced hangover the next morning of like mourning the hideousness of Cybertruck. Come 6 months later, a year later, and I'm like, damn it, that thing's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, that also teaches you something about. Again, it's the thing you said earlier, sort of. Going against the current of the experts or the beliefs or whatever and making a decision from first principles. Some of that also applies to design and styling and fashion and culture and all
big
that.
Time.
Some of that, so in fashion especially, it's so interesting.
So subjective.
Being rebellious against the current fads actually is the way to pave the new fads.
Well, it didn't take long for others to follow. You look at like currently like what Hyundai's doing with their, I forget which one, like the Ioniq or something like that. It's square. It's like it's boxy. Mm-hmm. It's a throwback. It's 80s. It's got these beautiful retro taillights. It's got these square headlights. It's very inspired by Cybertruck, in my opinion. I mean, it might not be. It might be coincidental that we're all kind of getting this retro future vibe. But
I personally like the boxy. So I still haven't understood Porsches. I still can't quite understand the small size, the elegant, the curves. I don't quite get it.
See, like I said, I don't love the look of the RX-7. I don't love it, but I love it because of the engineering, I guess, that it represents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not the surface stuff. It's the deep down stuff.
It's that 50-50 weight distribution that matters.